What's up, Squadron? Aviation has given me a ton of amazing experiences. And more importantly, it's introduced me to a whole new family of friends. Join us tonight because we're cleared direct for some hangar flying. I'm Ryan Dembroski, and this is SuperAero Live. Sorry, every time I see that, I just get super excited about jets. What's up, everybody? Welcome to SuperAero Live. It's Wednesday night, 8:30 p.m. Central, 1:30 Zulu, and that can only mean one thing, is that it's SuperAero Live. I already said that. I hope you guys are excited to be here tonight. I know I am. Be sure to smash the like button. What does Waukesha Pilot say in the chat? Likes are free. Smash that like button. And also... yeah, my mic covers it. Oh, yeah, we'll fix that another time. We changed some things here in the basement here. And then also, obviously, it helps me out a ton if you subscribe and share the video. And then our Patreon supporters, big thanks to those folks who are helping make this possible. If you want to join, and there's some cool stuff you can do there, patreon.com/SuperAero. And then lastly, the other thing I wanted to say is, hey guys, did you see that episode with Kevin Quinn last week? That was insane. I got super pumped, and I was like getting into Microsoft Flight Simulator and landing on the tops of all the cliffs and all the mountains. He totally birthed something in me with that. So that was crazy. And the next week, I saw a couple of you guys joking in the chat about it. Flight Chops maybe. Flight Chop sent me a text. He said, hey, I'm a hard maybe for next week. So we'll just lean into that. You guys should shoot him a note and say, hey, I really want to see you on SuperAero Live. Make that hard maybe a hard yes. An enthusiastic yes, because I think we would all have an awesome time chatting with him, getting to know him. I know him sorta. We were in an episode. I was in one of his episodes, and he was in one of my episodes from AirVenture last year. So... Just Plain Silly's here. Maybe Just Plain Silly could be my backup. Yeah, Brian, are you into that? You could be my backup. You could be the Flight Chops alternate. You could be the understudy. I bet he's thrilled that I'm saying that on the internet right now. So, guys, I'm going to check my phone real quick. Some kind of late-breaking news. Tonight's supposed to be Mel The Traveler, who I've been really excited to talk to, and I am not sure what happened. He is not available yet to join us, and so I'm going to keep my phone kind of handy and hope that everything's okay. Hope it's just technical problems that he's having, that he's not here right now, and that we could all chat just for a little bit while we wait for him to hopefully show up. So Mel, if you're seeing this and you can't get the technical stuff to work or whatever, or you're having other issues, just shoot me a text. I sent you a text on Instagram. It's fun, right? Just like putting up the signal flare there. So in the meantime, you guys have me as your guest tonight. So the question is, what do you want to know? While you guys put some questions in, I'm going to say hi to a couple people in the chat. So many people here. Waukesha Pilot's here. Zach Sherman's here. Hey, Zach. 782 Papa's here. I think it's Brian Singer, right? B Singer 339's here. How's it going? Sarah Clucky's here. Sarah, I saw you did a flight at Cub Air up in Hartford, Wisconsin. Is that too creepy that I know that? I saw that on Instagram that you were taking your first tailwheel instruction flight this past weekend. That's awesome. Keep going. You're going to have a really great time up there. Let's see. Who else is here tonight? Marty's here. He's going to break his rudder pedals because he loved this song so much. Who else? Lots of people. You guys, I love how you guys are chat. Oh, Sarah's drinking a beer. I am also drinking a beer tonight. Not a sponsor, but Kinru Blue, which is, I think, like, I got it at Aldi. That's good stuff. And then, let's see, who else we have? We guys, Noah Goldstein's here. Noah's here. Hey, Noah. Good to see you, brother. And then I saw that Dark Arrow was here. Hey, guys, I'm super pumped to see the video on you guys, like, stressing your wing for your airplane. I got to be honest, we got to work out some sort of deal because I can't stop thinking about your stupid plane. It's a cool thing. Hope it. I just can't wait to see you guys succeed with that. Anyway, let's get down to the chat. Okay. So, what are you guys talking about? Oh, Brad Bloom's here. Yeah, so let's talk about a couple things that happened in the news, aviation wise. One, you guys are talking about the jetpack in the chat. That jetpack thing in LA. Do you guys hear about that? Apparently, some pilots landing at LAX reported a man flying next to them in a jetpack, and I didn't see any other information about it other than someone said on air traffic control, they're like, "Yep, only in LA could that happen." So was that Brian? Ken Dodson. Hey, Ken. Ken says Brian can give us an update on his jetpack. Brian, how's the jetpack going? Hopefully good. And then Zach Sherman, while we're talking about that, yes, that was the other thing I want to talk about. Did you see David Blaine's balloon stunt this morning? I did, and I will tell you that I was not super excited about it. I didn't think it was super amazing until he got really high, and then I started thinking about all the aeronautical factors that would go into that, having the oxygen, hypoxia, super cold. I don't even think they really talked about that, at least while he was ascending. They didn't talk about how frigid it is up there, and so he was just, that part of it was interesting. I kind of missed like the David Blaine magic side. I think I joked in like my little private chat with my pilot friends, like I'm waiting for him to like barf up the frogs and be like, there's frogs in my belly or something like that. So but I just, like, as a stunt, mad respect for that. Cool. So yeah, hit me up with your questions in the chat. Let's chat for a little bit before we see when Mel can show up. And if he doesn't, we'll get him on again. I know there are a lot of people really excited to talk to him. I am. I mean, so let's talk about Mel for a little bit. Like, super cool Instagram pilot. Has maybe the most impressive, like, selfies and stuff. If you watch him right now, he's training to be an airshow pilot. He's also training to be an airline pilot. And he's an aircraft mechanic at Delta, I believe, wrenching on 737s, which is super cool. So really fun to watch a guy who's just totally gone from aspiring to be an aviator, becoming an aircraft mechanic, using that to fund his dream of becoming an airline pilot. It's just really inspiring. He also has like a brand new kid, which is probably why the kid's probably giving him some trouble going down or something tonight. So, but I just, hashtag dad life, hashtag dad pilot. So Mel, hopefully you'll be able to join us. But if not, let's keep talking. Ryan, are you flying yet? No, I want to give you guys an update on flying. So I, after the Kevin Quinn episode actually last week, I just was like so filled with passion by you guys and by Kevin. I was like, pandemic's a pandemic. I have a certain number of things that that are keeping me from flying related to the pandemic. But I think at this point we're kind of settling into comfort, and we're settling into figuring out how to be safe. And so I reached out to a couple instructors that I know to see if they'd be willing to get me back in the saddle in Uncle Victor. And just, I've got a BFR coming up. BFR is coming up in October. So kind of like knocking out all the rust from COVID. Basically, last time I flown was February. I want to we were talking all about proficiency with Kevin. And so I want to make sure that I knock all that rust off, be really proficient, and get that BFR out of the way. So I can be safe and just get back into the air. Because I think once I can do that, knowing what we know now, I can have a really clean airplane and be careful about who I'm flying with and still be safe. So that's the update on that. What else? What else you guys want to know? Oh, Brian just sent me a picture of him in his jetpack, but I don't know how to get it on the I don't know how to get it on the screen for you guys. 1 second. Let's see what we can do with the backup. There he is. So that was him. That was Brian flying at LA with his jetpack on earlier. What was it? Yesterday? Today? So So that's cool. How's the performance on that thing, man? Uh, Maxim DS is here. Maxim said he was going to be listening through while he was at class. I can't totally condone that, but sure. Yeah, I love that. Oh, just sent you a text with a photo of the jetpack. Yeah, that's awesome. So what do you guys think about that jetpack thing? I mean, the question is, how do they catch them? It's like a fairly conspicuous thing, but like, how do they catch them? Like, what are they? I mean, I hope they do. I hope, or let's blow. What if it was like totally legal? What if it was totally legal? It was all squared with the FAA, and the ATC just didn't know because of some sort of bureaucratic mix-up. That's what I hope. I hope it was like a real thing. Waukesha pilot Uniform Victor's been up a ton. So it got back from that overhaul, and it has just been like rocking out. It's flying a couple times a day. We're really getting our money's worth on that overhaul, which is great. Marty's asking, what's your favorite Flight Simulator 2020 airplane and my favorite location to fly? So I haven't had a ton. So I'm running Flight Simulator on a potato right now. It's barely. I wanted to actually stream some stuff with you guys, but I'm running it basically on a potato, and it kind of runs, but it mostly works. My favorite plane right now, in that, even before we talked to Kevin Quinn, was the Savage Shock Ultra, because it literally stalls at like 18 miles an hour, so you could just like get it like hanging there, and that's just fun to do. And I've been goofing around in all the like high altitude airports or like the mountain airports. We did a canyon run with a bunch of non-pilot buddies who just have like the Xbox Game Pass and downloaded it to humor me. We all loaded up X Cubs and like flew down through the Grand Canyon and stuff, and so that was cool. I'm excited to see what they do with that game. I saw you guys chatting earlier. It's difficult for me, like it's harder to fly in the. I mean, this is like rudder pedals, right? Like it's harder to fly in the simulator than it is in a real airplane, it feels like. And so I always get uncoordinated because I'm either pushing the rudder pedals on the floor. Sometimes I got like the twist joystick thing, and that's not totally working all the time. So it's hard, and I think part of it is like system lag and stuff, but I do really enjoy it. It just, like, I landed at McMurdo Station. I don't know, it's just fun to do like cool things. I really enjoy, like, too much to the chagrin of my gaming buddies, I love like making sure I flip every switch in the right order and stuff, which proves how much of a nerd. Just Plain Sillies might be available as the understudy for next week for flight jobs. All right, I'll text you, buddy. Ken Dodson says, can you talk about the 210 busting the Bravo in Vegas? Was that a slap on the wrist, all he got? So I haven't been following this too closely. I saw that some of the like more aviation news shows have been covering it, and they've just, due to a FOIA, a Freedom of Information Act request, some people got a little more information and got the recordings of what he had the call on the with the controller supervisor after he landed. And basically the summary of it, and you guys should go check out those videos yourself and listen to them. Basically, my understanding is that he was, one, very apologetic to the supervisor after he landed. So he was just rude to the controller he was talking to. Two, he was citing a lot of different factors that were distracting or irritating him. He said he had screaming kids in the back, that was weighing in on it. I think, honestly, based on his description of it, he just had a fundamental misunderstanding of how Class Bravo works. I think he thought it worked like Class Charlie or Delta, where just talking to them grants you access. I didn't ever hear in the recording that he was cleared specifically into the Bravo, and it sounds like he thought because he was talking to them, they had cleared him into the Bravo. So, anyone that lives around Bravo knows that even if they're talking to you, you're not cleared unless they specifically grant it. I've asked for it a couple times in Chicago's airspace and only had one kind of magical clearance where I literally had to like climb as hard as I could to like just get a little section of it my wings into a little section of it after they cleared me before we were out of the area. So I don't know. I maybe a slap in the wrist. I mean, certainly they're going to re-educate him on that. I don't really have a problem personally. I mean, we all make mistakes. Pilots all make mistakes. I personally feel like it's more the attitude. It's more the attitude that bothered me in that video. The entitlement in that video. Like, this is a privilege that we all get to do this. And we should be really thankful that there are people who support us doing it. So that's my 2 cents on it. Just like, you make the mistake, but own up to it. Yeah, I was thinking about an internet troll that I was arguing with today about stuff, and it was like that attitude thing was percolating, but I don't want that negativity to drop in there. Jacob Lindsay asks, how many bridges have you tried to fly under in Microsoft Flight Simulator? Right now, none, because it's bugged and you can't. BVR, Beyond Visual Range. By the way, check out BVR's Instagram and stuff. It's just super cool art. I did some art for Elliot Seguin recently that was super dope. Asks, who's your favorite historical aviation figure? And that's a really good question. I don't know. There's like too many. There's like too many to count. I think the one that's been top of mind for me right now is Joe Kittinger. You guys should look him. Captain Joe. And I only know this because it was my birthday the day he did it. But on my birthday, Joe Kittinger, back in like the 60s, so I wasn't there yet, but but he was like the original like highest altitude skydive dude. So it was like over 100,000 feet or whatever, skydove out of a balloon gondola. His glove malfunctioned, his hand swelled up real big, and he worked through that. So he's like, Felix Baumgartner just did that with Red Bull a couple of years back, and it was even more impressive. But he like had all the advent of like modern technology, and Joe did it basically like in like a half spacesuit. They were testing spacesuit technology, but look him up. I think that's just amazing. The kind of like strength and bravery it takes to like break that limit or do that like as an unknown is really impressive. So also, I've got like a soft spot for like World War II aces. Like here in Wisconsin, we've got Bong Recreational area after the P-38 ace. I think Richard Bong. I think that's all really cool. Just Plain Silly asks, Ryan, are you working out? You look slim. I'm not working out, but I have lost 30 pounds-ish since the start of this show. So that's just through not eating a lot. It's like the reverse COVID. I did the reverse COVID. Maxim Diaz says his is Charles Lindbergh. So let's talk a little bit. I wish I had the video pulled up. I actually have flown in a plane that Charles Lindbergh has also flown. So a few years back, a flight instructor named Sarah and I did a couple videos together, and she owned a Boeing Stearman Speedmail. The Boeing Stearman Speedmail, just making sure Mel didn't show up. The Boeing Stearman Speedmail was like, it's like a pre-Stearman, so it's bigger. It's for male pilots. And she had one that was the Jimmy Allen Speedmail. It's the coolest thing in my logbook. I've got like 0.25 or something in it of piloting command time on it. And we did a video. She paid me to make a video about biplanes and her biplane to help sell rides. She did historic rides in it. And then as we were finishing up the video, because I'm tailwheel rated, she was like, hey, do you want to like fly us back home? And so we did this amazing like open cockpit flying low and slow over the I just thought of a thing we're gonna do this the lo-fi way, but kind of low and slow over the cornfields of Wisconsin. It was just super amazing, this super amazing thing, and just kind of like really stuck with me, and I've got this N number in my logbook. So then here's the thing, I'm talking to Kevin Quinn getting ready for the show last week, and I'm telling him, let me pull this up here. I'm telling him, oh, it's not loading super great. I'm telling him the story, and he says, wait a minute, the Jimmy Allen Stearman Speedmail, what color is it? And I said, well, it's cream and blue. And he said, Oh, that's never gonna work. Oh, my phone's so dirty. Whatever, you can sort it. There it is. Look at that. So when he went to buy his Stearman, that plane that I had flown years back now is owned by those guys sitting in that hangar, which is just like spooky. Spooky how all that aviation stuff works. Maxim's like, oh, I'm out. Bye, Maxim. Cool. SoCal Flying Monkeys here. Hey, what's up? John says, oh, we're talking about the jetpack guy. He was at 3,000 feet. He didn't have much endurance and range. That's a thing to consider. That is a thing to consider. They normally don't have very much endurance, so they would have to be pretty close, which is why I think it was a real thing that was okay, and someone just didn't tell the right people. I totally need to get Jetpack Guy on the show. You guys track him down, and I will do it. Hey, so real quick, you guys, I just want to say, too, a little shout-out to a past guest here. SoCal Flying Monkey, Eric, is in the chat right now. Eric made a video recently about paragliding. After we wrap up whatever this show is about to be tonight, you guys should go check it out. He went paragliding with his beautiful family, and I sent it to my wife as just like, hey, like, this thing hit me. Like, it hit me in the feels. Like, I was watching it, and I was like, he's talking about his kids growing up and all this stuff, and it just, like, really hit me. And I was like, oh, like, that's the essence, right? Like, that's the essence of why we do all this, is, like, so we can build these memories and have these dreams with our family. And so, Eric, I just want to say thank you for sharing that video and that with all of us. It was really powerful for me. Shared it with my wife, and I was like, this is it. And then she was like, well, let's just go paragliding. We don't need to buy a plane to go to it. And I was like, well, that's true, but still, like, it even resonated with her. So yeah. So what other question you guys have? Lusting after flight sim after hearing me describe the Cub act. Dude, there's a lot of Cubs. BVR, there's a lot of Cubs in Flight Simulator. They did that well. I wish they had like an OG. They had an OG like J3 in it, but it's pretty good. The Cubs are great. They fly pretty well, and they seem to fly accurately. Yes, John, that's the one I'm talking about. Christy Wong did an episode on taking off about the 210 pilot. Yeah, 100%. Rock on. I'm just catching on the chat here. How long after the incident did he talk to the supervisor? I think it's like immediately. Like, they were like, hey, like, here's a number to call. And they gave him the number, and that's what they did. Yeah, copy a number. No, I'm flying. Sorry, I'm not scrolling as fast as you guys are talking. Colonel? Was it Colonel or Captain? Yeah. An astronaut without the spacecraft. Yeah, 100%. Really, really, really cool dude. I would love to get him on the show. I should get him on this show. I would love to ask him about that. And the other thing is, he's just like a pilot like the rest of us. Like, he's just like a normal dude. The Uncontrolled Airspace podcast was talking about him on a couple episodes ago. And I guess he used to just give rides at Sun and Fun, like in an old, like, open cockpit type plane. So, absolutely. Awesome. Reading. Yeah, paragliding is way cheaper. Yeah, 100%. But you guys also have mountains that you can, like, paraglide down in California, and we do not have that here. So paramotoring is more the thing. And obviously, you guys know that paramotoring is something that I'm interested in. After having the problem with this show is that every time I have a guest on, I want to do the thing they're doing for like the next week. It's all I can obsess about, and I've been obsessing about paramotoring ever since Eric Farewell was on the show. Such a cool dude, and it seems just super amazing. That would be more likely to be a thing we could do here. We don't have a lot of places we could go. Maybe like an old ski hill in the summer or something. But no one's really, as far as I know, no one in Wisconsin is like teaching paragliding the way that you guys were able to do up there. Yeah, paramotoring is, well, paramotoring, I don't know if it's dangerous. I think it's more about, just like everything in aviation, it's about how you do it. And talking to Eric, the things he said were, one, The biggest thing that will happen to you is a leg injury, like an ankle thing if you're doing the foot launch thing. And the other thing is water is super dangerous, because if you land in the water, have an engine out over water or whatever, and you don't have like the pull floats, then and the chute drags you down. And so most of the deaths in paramotoring are actually are water deaths. This is insane, man. I didn't know that. Also a POW in Vietnam, so maybe jumping out of a space balloon didn't seem so hard after that. That is wacky. Colonel Kittinger was also POW in Vietnam. That's totally crazy. Yeah, I will well, I mean, we tried moving out to LA when I started in the film industry, but the cost of living's a bit lower here, so anyway. Yeah, dudes, thank you so much for 30 people still in the chat. That's amazing, even without a guest. Let me check in. What other questions you guys have for me? You want to hear about, oh, and somebody just texted me Joe's contact information for his agent. So I will I'm totally going to take advantage of that. We are definitely going to do that. The beer is better. Oh, beer's better too. Yes, 782 Papa. The beer is better in Wisconsin than it is in LA. Even Aldi beer. I'm embarrassed as a Wisconsinite. I don't know. Maybe they brew it here in. Oh, this is from Belgium, so this is pretty good. So, wondering what other questions you guys have about SuperAero. Anything you want to know? Anything you guys want to see? Now's a great time to chat about that. Any question you guys have about like accessible aviation? That's kind of a thing I've been pushing lately, being part of a flying club. Jonathan, oh man, a live rendition of the Butthole song. So the Butthole song, to give people a little bit of background. Okay, the Butthole song. So here's what happened. So there's a video. I don't even remember which video it is in right now. I think it's a video where I'd gone through a similar thing like now, where I think it was not quite as long. Maybe like a couple months of not flying due to, it was like right after my second daughter was born, and I just had to be dad mode for a couple months. And, went back and got current and just like ran through all my maneuvers. Noah. Yeah, man. Hey, I'm in it to win it. I am also slightly concerned about Mel. So, okay, the Butthole song. So go check it out. I'll put a link somewhere in the notes. But basically what it was I landed a bunch. I was super excited. And yeah, just plain silly, you did the intro for the live stream with me, and the song was like, I was like, and the landings didn't blow my butthole, and the landings didn't blow his butthole. That's like the chorus, like behind me. So what I should do is like professionally record that. I've got friends who are audio engineers and have like a whole sound studio. We should do it. So anyway, there you go, Jonathan. Don't say that I won't do almost anything for my fans. All right, Zach Sherman doesn't want to talk about buttholes. He wants to talk about LSAs. So here's accessible aviation money-wise. What do you think about LSAs? I think that's a great question. So LSAs, I love the spirit of LSA. I love the spirit of Sport Pilot. I think that some of it was kind of undone with Basic Med. But I think that was also just a reaction to the industry. I think that the regulations aside, there's things that work against me personally with LSA. One is that a lot of them don't have a ton of useful load. Some of them famously, like the Icon A5, right, famously kind of has a very limited useful load because it's very feature rich. And so for me, LSAs are harder as someone who's a little bit on the heavier side than a what we call like an FAA standard pilot. So I'm 230 pounds right now, so on like a, instead of 175, right? That eats into that load a lot. So that's harder for me. But I think the thing that excites me about LSA, not so much, I mean, I love that, if I ever get to a point health-wise, if I follow the right processes, I can keep flying in an LSA or through basic med. The thing I love about LSA, or what excites me about it, isn't so much the actual regulation, it's the aircraft. Now, they haven't hit that. Like, I think everyone dreamed, and the intention of LSA was for those things to become really, really cheap aircraft. And I was actually having an argument on Reddit with someone today, and they were complaining about a previous episode and about how we're all missing the point, and the point is that there aren't accessible aircraft to fly. And I don't think that's true. Excuse me, but I think, you've got some aircraft manufacturers where aircraft are as cheap or affordable as like a standard car. I think LSA was the dream, right? That we were going to have these like $15,000, $20,000 like modern aircraft the same way we have cars. I don't think that's possible given the volume we have in terms of pilots and things like that. But what excites me about them are LSAs like the Pipistrel Virus, which is also in Flight Simulator. You've got that plane that's like winning efficiency prizes, right? Like it's like, I think anything like Rotax powered that's super slippery, like those CTLSs, the Pipistrels, all of those kind of like Remos, I think, was a brand that was doing stuff for a while. Like all of those are interesting because they're using technology to like work within a set of engineering limits. And I don't know if the Dark Arrow guys are on right now, but that's something that they're doing on their channel every day, right? Not an LSA, right? Their aircraft's going way faster than an LSA would. But the idea of that efficiency is really exciting to me. And what people don't think of with efficiency, so for instance, like you could buy an LSA like a Piper Cub. There's some vintage aircraft that fit the mold there. Piper Cub's going to burn like 5 gallons an hour, or you could do like a 152, or now with basic med you can even get into like a 172, I think. Someone check that. I'm not totally up on the regs on that. But basically, right, like Cessna 172 burning 9 gallons an hour, the idea of like burning with in 2 seats instead of 4, granted, but like getting in the Pipistrel and burning like 3 or 4 gallons an hour and going faster, that's the exciting part of LSA, is that there's all this innovation happening around that because the standards, like the standards are different, so then some of that certification onus is freed up to innovate. So that's a very long-winded answer, Zach, but I think LSAs are dope. I love that you can get into like a Champ or a Cub if you only need sport pilot privileges for a lot cheaper. It's definitely part of making aviation more accessible. Should we meet up sometime, AirVenture 2021? Definitely, brother. We are going to get that done. Is this the video going to have the record from this saying butthole? Yeah, let's add butthole. Okay, Jonathan, tell you what, you are a Patreon supporter. Let's talk on Patreon about how we could do that as a reward for patrons, if that's something you really, really want. Yeah, I mean, and 782 Papa's hitting the point too. Certified aircraft are really overpriced, and it's not that they're overpriced for the amount of work. I mean, I honestly believe like the amount of work that goes into certifying aircraft is insane. So the price then has to account. It's like software development, right? Like you're not paying for, back when it was CDs, you're not paying for the CD. You're paying for all the stuff that's on the CD, right? Experimental, light sport, all that stuff's more exciting to me right now because that's the stuff that I'm more likely to have access to, unless I'm in a club, right? So I'm in 4 Uniform Victor with a bunch of men and women. We share the cost. We have a reasonably well outfitted 172 that we all share the responsibility for. You know, I could see myself someday leveling up to a club that's got a Cherokee 6, or maybe someday getting my own Cherokee 6 like SoCal Flying Monkey has, to do more like family stuff. There's a guy in our little local flying group that really wants a turbo Saratoga or something like that. Yeah, 30 pounds more of useful load. Yeah, no, that's what I was telling my unimpressed. I had to go in for a checkup, and I was telling the nurse, I was like, "Oh yeah, like I had 30 more pounds of useful load on my airplane," and she was like, "Whatever." Um, yeah, the Icon A5 is like $400,000 now. Yeah, it's expensive. I mean, it's an impressive aircraft. That's actually a really fun one to fly in Flight Simulator too, because it's got gear and you can land in the water and all that stuff. I actually been wanting to get someone from Icon on the show just to talk about it, because I think the spirit of what they've done is really interesting. I don't know. For me, like my dad and I looked at it in the beginning when they were first starting, and I think we figured out. He's a larger-ish guy too, and between the two of us, I think we calculated we had 10 minutes of fuel to stay under gross weight. Oh, Noah's crashing hard. See you next week. Yeah. See you next week, buddy. It will take 30 years before those planes are affordable, Jonathan says. Yeah, 100%. 100%. But what's cool is that I will hopefully still be alive then. Thoughts on electric airplanes? So, dude, I am super pumped that, not to go, again, not a sponsor, right? But Pipistrel Aircraft, that is super cool. They're doing all this amazing stuff with electric aircraft. I think we're just moments away from that. Especially as battery densities and stuff get better. All my Tesla friends, people who are really into that stuff, I think that we're moments away to where that becomes reasonable. I think what'll be interesting to see is how that works with pilots making dumb. I mean, one of the biggest reasons people crash traditional aircraft, is they're out of gas. So that's going to happen again with electric aircraft potentially, and then it's just going to be the dumb electric aircraft. We shouldn't do that. Not taking into account that that's happening with traditionally liquid fuel powered aircraft. Anyway, yeah, I think electric aircraft would be really, really cool. I would love to do that. I think for training, the way that Pipistrel's been pushing it is actually really interesting, because you spend all that time in the pattern, so make that more affordable for people, more accessible for people. I think it's and I kind of bounced around. Pipistrels are super cool looking. I agree. They're really, really cool. Or you can just buy a really old plane. And we're still talking. Brian, Wolficorn Brian, and Just Plain Silly Brian have been trying to get me to also buy a Grumman so we could be the Grumman gang, Brian, Ryan, and Brian, which we should do. Marty thinks 50% more better battery density before we can have that. He knows more about that stuff than I do. So yeah, I think that's a thing that we should continue to look into. I'd be really excited to see that. So I think and you guys are talking about LSAs in terms of like cost per dollar and things like that. Yeah, I mean, I think that's the thing, right? Like, I would be willing personally to pay a little bit more for an aircraft up front if it means that I don't have to budget as hard for it during the week. 1 second, I'm getting some text messages. We got time for a few more questions. Hit me up, guys. Okay, I heard from Mel. The good news is that everything's all good. It was just a scheduling conflict that kind of popped up. So we're going to reschedule him and get him on the show in a couple weeks. We'll get another opening. So he's got a kid, and when you've got a kid, all bets are off. Totally get that. So, and I appreciate all of you that have been hanging in and watching this, like, Ask Ryan Chat, you guys are making me feel great. Yeah, for sure, for sure. So that's really good. I'm just relieved. I was like, oh no, what if something really bad happened? Okay, who else is in here? FAA seems to be creating easier oaths to certification paths, I think is what he meant. Easier paths to certification for avionics and yeah, that's huge too. That I think is also going to be like. Here's the thing. Like for instance, let's take a hometown hitter in experimental. Right, you've got Sonics aircraft up in Oshkosh. I'm just picking them because they're local. You can get a B model Sonics. Totally finished for like 20 to 35. I don't know where it's at. Like, let's call it like 35 grand. Go Google it or whatever, right? Or like the 1X. Talk about like saving aviation. Like a 1X is like super affordable. You got to pound a bunch of rivets. Even with the engine, you're not pound them. You got to pull them. Even with the engine, you've got just all this great aircraft for a lower amount of dollars, right? Then you put a panel in it, and people start putting in G3Xs, which are cheaper than like the certified version from Garmin, but the plane like doubles in expense when you like put this insane panel in it and stuff. So I think that's part of it too. You're absolutely right, Eric. That's a huge part. Gary Smith asks, care to talk about your flying club, how you found it, pros and cons, etc. Hey, Gabriel's here. Hey, what's up, Gabriel? All right, so here's the thing. Flying club saved aviation for me, and I've talked about this a little bit more with during the Spirit of Aviation week. EAA interviewed me, and we talked a little bit about flying clubs and all this stuff. And I'm actually working on a video. I shot it pre-COVID and then just never edited it, but I have a video where I kind of like break down the costs of CAVU, our flying club here in Milwaukee. So I'll definitely get that edited soon. But I think basically the way it works is there's 14 of us. We share this 172. It's like 1970s vintage 172, well equipped with some new avionics. Just got a brand new engine overhaul done. I will tell you guys straight up, and hopefully none of my club member friends mind this. We pay a little over $100 a month in dues, and then it's $65 an hour wet to run it. So that, to me, I mean, unless you're flying like a Pipistrel or something, where you're only burning 3 gallons an hour or something, like that is the deal of a century in aviation. That totally saved it for me. It's something I can budget around, even with a variable income with kids or whatever. I don't have to sweat about how we're going to afford the airplane payment next month or anything like that. It's just like this. It's cheaper than my cell phone to fly it an hour or two a month. So that's really pretty amazing. I think the pros of it are affordability. I think the other pro is shared resource. So you have all these people working together to maintain. We have a maintenance officer, Ryan, who does, like, not me, but a guy who knows more about stuff like that than me. He manages all the maintenance and does an amazing job doing that. And it's a lot of work, but the rest of all the responsibilities of owning an aircraft is divided up among a number of officers and people in the club. And so it allows us as a club then to start thinking about, what kind of impact on the local aviation community do we want to have? Because we can combine our resources that way as well. So those are the pros, just the shared resources, the shared expense, all that stuff. Having someone you can bounce, like a community, a built-in community, is really nice too. I think the cons are that it's a shared resource. So, every once in a while someone dings it up, and that's a bummer. Every once in a while, someone makes a mistake, and you have to deal with that because it's not just yourself, right? And then separately, just sharing a single aircraft among 14 people can be dicey. I was in another flying club right before I went to Uniform Victor. It was actually, I thought, also a really good deal, and Uniform Victor has just even better financials. And every once in a while in the old club, the scheduling thing would get kind of heated. We used an app. We use an app online where you can like go on and schedule and reserve time and stuff. And as long as everyone follows kind of like the set protocol and how to do that, it's super cool. What happens is when people either don't follow that protocol or whatever, like tempers can flare and stuff. But the current group that I have right now, that's not happening really at all. People are being really mindful, especially now that the plane's back after an outage. People being super cool with each other, making sure that that we're sharing the resource really well. So that's the biggest con, is you're just sharing it. And then it's not not solely yours. I kind of get that, right? People might be a little harder on it because it's not a rental airplane, but it's still not like only their airplane. Yeah, can't. Short final. You guys are gonna have to ask me one-word questions. Oh, this is a good question. What was your first airplane game that you loved? BVR. My first video game, airplane game that I loved was F-19 Stealth Fighter. Funny you should mention it. You guys remember Erdl jets? You never have this is the F-19. So when the F-117 was being... Oh, come on, focus on the plane, camera. Autofocus, work. Well, whatever, you kind of can see it. It's missing a canard up here, but... Oh, there it goes. So this was my favorite simulator. I used to play it on my dad's Tandy 1000. And what was happening is, if you guys remember back to when this was all going on, the F-117 was in development, and people kind of knew something was coming out, some sort of stealth thing. And I don't know exactly how it happened, but people came up with this. This is what they thought the F-117 was going to look like. And so it was the F-19 Stealth Fighter. And so there was a video game about it where you flew one and you attacked Russia with it, or, weird stuff like that. And it was just such a cool game. And I remember you could eject out of it, and the landing gear would come down and there was little balls. The graphics were not what they are now. But I had so much fun in that game. After that, it was Aces over Europe, Aces of the Pacific. I still love the P-38 because of that game, and the Corsair, literally because of the game, right? Because that was how I was exposed to this stuff. So that was my favorite airplane game that I loved. And then I got really into the Aces games when I was in middle school, the PlayStation games. Pilot Wings is huge for me. Star Fox, does that count? Star Fox, do a barrel roll, man. Do a barrel roll. Nathan, I'm not doing that. Sarah asks a good question. We're almost up for time, guys, and then I appreciate you hanging with me tonight. Sarah says, does your family enjoy flying as well? So, yeah, I think, I don't know yet with the girls, with my two young ones. The oldest is 5, the youngest is 2. They haven't flown with me yet. Part of that is just a proficiency thing, and the other side is I feel unless we have a place to go or a purpose to go, like an adventure, like a SoCal Flying Monkey inspired adventure, right? I don't think that their experience would be super positive because they're so small. They wouldn't necessarily experience it the way I want them to experience it. So the rule I said with my wife was that we would just wait to see what when they asked to go. And of course, my 5-year-old's been asking to go. She loves airplanes because I love airplanes. And whenever an airplane flies overhead, she'll be like, "Daddy, look, airplane's your favorite." When I asked her to pick, we were looking through my old toys, right? This is from when I was a kid, right? And I was like, "Here, which one do you want? Do you want the F-14? Do you want the F-19? Do you want the F-15? Oh, I knocked over something. F-15? Which one do you want to play with?" And she picked an F-19 and an F-4. So, she loves it, but I think it's just because I love it. And I'm trying to be just really honest about my passion for it. So we'll see. My wife has flown with me a number of times. The last kind of flight we did, she did get super sick because I didn't do the right thing and like scrub the flight based on her comfort, which was a learning point for me as a pilot. This was a couple of years back before we had children. We went to look at the fall colors in northern Wisconsin. It was just blowing hard that day, and we were bouncing all over the place. I ended up eventually being able to like find, it was a overcast layer, so I couldn't get above the clouds. She got super sick. We landed to take a break, and then took off to head home, and the broken layer had opened up pretty significantly, so it was safe to get above it. It's actually the first time I flew above a cloud, which was also kind of fun. But so once it got to smooth air, she was fine. But anyway, in the short term, she hasn't flown me very much, but she is supportive of it, and she is excited that I'm excited. Yeah, so I don't know. I'm just gonna double check. Marty made a good. He's in the club with us, obviously. Clubs keep an airplane flying more. Yeah, that's 100%. If I owned an aircraft right now and I was going through this, well, actually, if I owned my own aircraft, I would have kept flying in the beginning, because the shared asset thing wouldn't have been part of the COVID problem to me. Just reading through the chats. You guys are talking about all sorts of favorite airshow team. Oh, that's dangerous. Well, here's what I'll say. I'm not going to pick favorites, but the F-35 and F-22 demo teams near and dear to my heart because we got to hang out together last Osh. Those guys blew my mind. If you're talking like actual like air show team, I think the big jet teams are really exciting. I think that's why a lot of people come. I know my wife's not super into aviation, and she loves like the Blue Angels and the Thunderbirds. I will say that I love the shock and awe of those teams, but I also really, really love the gracefulness of the Snowbirds. I think that's something that, and the energy management and all that stuff that they do, that stuff really, I remember being really impressed with that when they were in, Chuck Yeager's Air Combat. Yeah, Andy, 100%. Yeah, played that too. That was a good one too. So anyway, the Snowbirds, I think, are like the hidden gem in air show jet air show acts right now. It's weird. I'm not like I have a lot of respect for like aggressive, like the Oracle and all that stuff where people are doing like really hard acro. But I tend to gravitate more towards the acts that are more about energy management because they feel like stuff that I can apply more readily to my actual, like my flying. Also, like the idea of doing like a Lum Shavak just makes me feel like my brain would explode. So, yeah, Commodore 64's BVR, totally, man. Dude, the Aces series, Are You Me? Maybe. We should talk about it. We should definitely talk about it. And Andy, I was just Googling this the other day. Does anyone sell decent metal toy planes anymore? I don't know. I I was looking at Amazon today because I was like, oh, it'd be cool to get a couple for like, back there behind the show. And it's like $50 or whatever for like, it's like super, super expensive. You guys get a free flight review. Wait, Nathan, what? Shoot me a DM, man. Let's do it. Where are you? I don't even know. Let's do that. Yeah, and then Marty's are talking about White Mike. I've definitely hurled in a plane. That's a video you guys can watch. And I agree. Yeah, I didn't mention the red arrows. I do like the red arrows. I've never seen them. I like the idea of them. I love the aircraft they fly, which is escaping me right now. But yeah, no, I think that's kind of where I'm at with the airshow teams. All right, dudes, we somehow managed. You guys, this was you. This was all you. We put on an entire show without a guest in one camera angle. And you guys just asked me a question for how you guys were the interviewers. I was the interview. 27 people still here at the end. That is awesome. That is, oh yeah, we can't forget Bob Hoover, but I never saw it. I just know about it. I never saw it in person. Dude, I can't believe we did a whole hour of just me talking crap to you guys on the internet. My mouth is parched. All right. Awesome. This was really fun. If you guys actually want to do this more, we could totally do this more. It's just cool to hang out with my pilot, my new like hangar fly with my new friends that I've gained from this show. You guys are all, guys and gals, are all so awesome. I hope, if nothing else, that this connects with you enough in the middle of the week to keep aviation top of mind, to keep the dreams alive. I think the thing there's two things that are really exciting to me about this show, and one is this awesome chat that I'm seeing blow up right now. You guys are amazing. All of you are my friends, and I can't wait to meet you in person, maybe next year at Oshkosh. And then two, like, just getting like super inspired by everyone. Like Eric stands out. Kevin last week. Elliot Seguin was super inspiring. The Dark Arrow guys are super inspiring if they're still in the chat. Like, just watching people create stuff and do stuff and just like go super hard. That's really cool. So anyway, okay. So I'm going to wrap it up for tonight. You guys are the best. Patreon supporters, we were going to test out something tonight for Patreon supporters on Zoom, like a little private debrief. I'm still going to poke my head in there just to see if it works. But I assume that because we did this, you guys maybe we don't need to do a debrief of the episode. But that's the thing we're going to experiment with over the next couple of weeks. And so I'm going to log into Zoom and check that out. And for the rest of you guys, maybe Flight Chops next week. And Mel and I are going to 100% get this rescheduled. He said he definitely still wants to be on the show. So I'm going to text him, get that all set up for some time in the coming weeks. And stay tuned. Stay tuned. Working some really cool angles on guests. Although maybe we should do this more often. I don't know. It was awesome. All right, dudes. Thanks so much. I can't believe we made it. All right, I'm going to go drink the rest of this beer.